Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. And as always, we, of course, have Kelly Cook in the house with us today. Kelly, it is almost summer. And I know you said you haven't been outside yet, but how's it been feeling in Arizona so far? Are you feeling the heat creeping in that's going to be taking over pretty soon?
We are. People are already talking about, hey, what are you going to do this summer the whole time, right? You're not going to be here the whole time, are you? It's going to be hot. And yeah, so it's starting to warm up here. But honestly, it got warm a couple of weeks ago and which is too warm, too soon. But recently it's been actually pretty good, like in the high 80s, which has been fantastic, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds kind of nice. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and this is like our great weather. It's been nice. We've had storms, but it's been nice. Like right now it's sitting at about like 73 degrees and
Perfect.
It's a little cooler than what you got in Phoenix, but that is about perfect weather for me. We get hot in the summer too, though. So like come July, it's humid, right? It's not the heat that'll get
It's
you.
not a
It's the
dry
humidity.
heat.
It is not. So it gets a little worse for us up here on that. But yeah, so summer's coming. Whether you're in Phoenix or you're in, upstate New York, summer is upon us. And while that doesn't mean the same heat for everybody, that does mean that that's a lot of time that you are going to typically want to take vacations. You're going to want to take the summer off, or, do a lot more leisurely things, be outside. But today we're here to tell you not to do that. Right, Kelly? What is your plan for this? That can't be your only plan for the summer. Not if you want to succeed in the fall, right? That's pretty clear. So let's talk about that, Kelly. What should people be doing this summer instead of skiing and, going to the lake and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I feel real strong about this actually, because it goes back, it ties in with everything else we talk about with it, which is consistency, right? That is the magic pill. You need to take some of those pills and swallow a lot of them, right? And be consistent. So, in October we start business planning for the year to come, and which is great because of the sales cycle. And I'm going to say now we're in May. I'm going to say that you need to start business planning for the summer. Yeah, I know June's right around the corner, but here's the deal, guys. It's like December to an extent. There's a lot of excuses. Oh, the holidays, no one's doing this. Now, granted, in Phoenix, it's probably a little more than most places around the country because it's additionally hot here. And so a lot of
Unbearable.
people, yeah, a lot of people after they get their home plans situated for school, that sort of thing, they might take some time off and head somewhere else in the month of July, especially. So what's crazy is all these agents sit there and go, "Oh, it gets so slow in July." And here's the deal: I've been doing this 19 years. You notice that it does get slower. There's no question about that in July in terms of activity, right? So closing's a little bit less in August because activity in July is down. But can I tell you that in just an average good month, not the best month of the year, but in an average good month, a solid month, you're going to see in Phoenix, for example, about 8,500 homes sell. Okay, to 9,000 maybe, somewhere in there. Well, in August, the closings will be somewhere in the ballpark of around 4,500, give or take a few. So it's about cut in half to an extent, not even quite in some cases. And so someone goes, "Oh yeah, but that's half the demand or the activity." Yeah, that's true. It is for a period of time in that month. But last time I checked, 4,500 homes is still a lot of homes being sold.
Yeah.
And so if I could, one thing I can guarantee you is that half of the agents are not just taking it off. Over half of the agents are slowing down, making excuses, doing other things. Over half. And so you actually have more market share to work with in a down month in anywhere in America, for that matter, but especially Phoenix, using July as an example, because I don't have any distinct numbers on this, guys, but let's just say 75% of all the agents say, you know what, I'm going to cruise. I might work a little bit, of course, right? But I'm going to cruise, but I'm not going to go out there and try to conquer the world or build a big database that month. Well, if that's the case, but only half of the inventory is down, then that's 25% more market share to an extent, right? That you have as somebody who's going to keep your foot on the gas, on the pedal, and move forward to take more market share. And the crazy part I don't understand, Elizabeth, is people have to understand that when you take market share, you don't notice it right away. You don't, right? You're going to notice it in September, October, November. That's when you're going to notice it. August possibly, right? Because of what you did in May and June and July, even when it's a little bit slower potentially. Now, obviously, other markets across the country, you're going to have a really good busy market because it's going to stay busy. That's your best market throughout the summer, right? Through May, June, July, and even August potentially, because some places across the country, they don't start school up till the end of August.
Yeah.
And so
some are like after Labor Day too. So
some are, yeah. So you have more of a runway for that hot market that usually is the summer in most places that are maybe a little more chilly in the wintertime. So that's there, but you still may want a vacation. And you can't really blame me for doing that, but you got to plan for it. So, for example, I have an agent on my team that I coach, and I had a conversation with him because he has kids, and of course, like any dad, he wants to spend time with them when they're not in school, to an extent, like right. I mean, you got to have some time because the kids are put
a
those
lot
kids in camp or something, right? Like
by mid-August, you're like, all right.
Yeah, right.
When does school open back up?
When's open? Let's get this thing going. So, but he does, and as do I, right? I have smaller kids as well. So, but I asked him this question. I go, because he's doing a great job of staying consistent. You're starting to see the fruits of his labor being consistent. I mean, really consistent, coming into the office, doing what he's supposed to be doing, actually not just sitting around talking to everybody and not doing any work even at the office. So, in asking him that question, well, the first question I had for him was, all right, school's almost out. What's your plan for the summer? And it was silence, right? He's like, and then it was some, well, I don't really, I don't know. What do you think it should be, right? And so my question, is any good coach is like, well, that's not for me to answer. I can give you some suggestions. At the end of the day, you have to come to your own conclusion as to what's best for your business and your family, of course. But the point is to make a plan and plan for it. Okay, so let's say because your kids are home and you want to spend a little more time with them while they're off school during the times or maybe not doing other activities around the summertime, let's say you choose one day and you're like, you know what, that day I'm going to see how it goes, but I'm going to stay home in the morning time until noon or whatever, right? And that morning time, I'm going to hang out with the kids, see what's going on, whatever. And then starting at 12:30, I'm gonna start getting after it, right? Calling my clients back, calling leads back, going on appointments, etc. But the other days, I'm still coming to the office as if I just dropped them off at school. That's what it takes. Now, but Kelly, you know what? I got in this business to be my own boss and to have my own schedule and make a lot of money. Well, last time I checked, people are really good at number 1 and 2, but they are horrible at number 3 because those things typically they just do not marry each other. They don't match up unless you live on maybe planet Mars. They don't match up, right? Now, obviously, what they do match up after you've been in the business for a long time and you have that foundation built, that database, that business built. That's different. But you can't, if you're somebody who's been in the business for less than 3 years, especially, or 3 years or less, right? You can't look at someone who's been doing it. You can't
expect to have all 3 of those things.
And see what they're doing. Go, well, hold on. They don't really, they go hang out with their kids there. They do this, that, they, whatever, right? They go on vacation a little more than maybe the average realtor or whatever. You can't look at that person and sit there and go, well, if that works for them, it should work for me. No, it doesn't, because you've been in the business 2 years. They've been in the business 21 years. It's different. Okay. And so if you want to model someone, because at the end of the day, guys, success leaves clues. You want to model somebody, I don't care what industry it is, model somebody who's exactly where you are today in terms of time on task and at the job and are very successful, more successful than you. Because that person has done some level of sacrifice to get where they are and to have that level of success. And so how come you're not having that same amount of success? Well, maybe you just ask them what they're doing, follow them for a day, shadow them for a day. Guys, I'm telling you now, if there's one thing I wish I would have done earlier in my career is spent some money, hopped on a flight when I was single, especially, right? And because you hear, it wasn't like it is today where everybody has is online, podcast, whatever, and they're sharing their ideas. And so there's no YouTube back then.
You're pretty limited on your connections. Yeah.
But you still heard of some person over here doing something in some market center and city across America, whatever. Should have hopped on a plane, called them up, hopped on a plane, went there and just shadowed them for a day. Swallow the pride and realize that even though you think you're more dynamic, you think you have better sales skills, you think you're better looking, you think you have whatever, all these things, but for some reason they're selling more houses than you in the same amount of time. Fly and follow and even pay some money, and just be a shadow at their office for them on a normal day with their team, with themselves, whatever it may be. I wish I would have done that because I would have learned so much faster and quicker than if I would have not done it, which I didn't, right? I just fell forward fast, right? That's what I did. So my point, guys, is, and all this is have a summer plan. Thinking like I say every time when it comes to business planning, plan your vacations for the following year, right?
Yeah.
We business plan for around 48 weeks out of the year, not 52, because we're going to assume you're going to go on some vacation because it's healthy for you. And we're going to assume that you're probably going to be sick for a little bit of those days in the course of a year. Most people get
Something
sick, the
comes
cold, the
up.
flu,
Yeah.
something, right? You could even plan for 44 weeks if you want. It's your choice. It's your plan, but execute the plan, whatever it is you decide to do. And so this summer, what is your plan? How many days are you going to end up going to the office the same time on those days? How long will you be there most days as at a minimum? And how many days a week, right? And then how many days you can take off because you're going to go on a planned family vacation, right? That should be planned. And when? Like, we already have our summer plans, like boom, it's done.
Yeah.
So I know when I'm going to be out, gone, etc. And we're gonna make the most of it. But the cool, crazy part of that is, it's coming up in X amount of weeks, and so you're just busting your tail because you have that reward coming at the end of that time period, right? So,
And yeah, I was just going to say just real quick, because we talked about this in business planning as well, but the reason that you plan for that is not so yes, you can bust your tail and all that stuff, but if you're consistent with hitting your goals, your daily goals, your weekly goals, your whatever, to get to that big end of the year, I want to sell this many houses, I want to make this much money. When you have those vacations or that time planned already, you can just be consistent. I mean, always work hard, of course, but if you're consistently hitting what you need to be hitting, even the minimum of what you need to be hitting every day, then those vacations, that time off, is not going to affect your outcome, right? I think that's kind of the whole point here, is that it's not, when you start adding in those unplanned things, well, now to make up for that goal, you've got to work twice as hard, the next week that you're back in the office, right? So it really, when you have that planned, it really helps balance out so that you're still hitting your end of the year goals. Because when you start slipping, that's when it's kind of a domino effect, right? And you're not going to hit those goals at the end of the year if you take the summer off and didn't have it in your plans to begin with. Maybe maybe you business planned with only 30 weeks of the year. I mean, that'd be a little low, but maybe you did, and you've got that time. And if you're doing that, you're still going to hit your goal. But it's really just having that time planned out and being consistent every other day of the week.
Yeah, we went back actually with several agents, and we actually looked back last year, and it was almost to a T, Elizabeth, that their income they received for the year that they earned was almost equal to, in terms of percentage, to the number of opportunities they inputted into their database for the year. So we have all these different metrics, but I'm telling you, that was eye-opening because of all these years of business planning, I never correlated those two together. But it was like jumping off the page at me, going, "Wow!" So, yeah, you're right. If you're just going to wing it, you're not going to hit those opportunities. You're not going to then execute your plan. And then, unfortunately, when comes September and October, you're going to be probably wishing you had, because it will show up. And here's one more thing I'll leave you with, guys. I do think that September, October, you're going to see some of the interest rates coming down. I really do. I just think that there's going to be there's a lot of pent up demand. We know that per 1 point, according to Newsweek, there's 4.5 million people nationally ready to get out the fence and get into the housing market. Per 1 percentage point, the 30-year fixed mortgage drops. According to MBS Highway, Barry Habib, he says 5 million for that same 1 point. So we know some pent up demand. And, if at any point the powers that be want to get this economy, give a little jolt to the economy, that's all they got to do. And so I do think you're going to see this happening later on this year. And so who knows what will happen in 2025? But I'm telling you what, start laying that foundation right now so that if that does happen, which is a higher probability that it will happen than not, that that you can share and make it rain for 2, 3, 4 months and store up some coffers, because 25, you don't know, but it may not be as rosy or as good, right? And so you have some of that money saved up, that foundation built, so that you can get your unfair share.
Absolutely. I think going way back to a couple of years ago when everybody was seeing that kind of frenzied time, what did you used to say? Like bake hay when the sun is
The
shining
sun is
or
shining.
something? Yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
right now we know that it's not. We're not in that, right? Hopefully you did make a lot of hay a couple of years ago. You got it all stored up.
Yep.
But hopefully we'll be seeing that again in a couple of months here, right? So be prepared for that.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, well, other than that, guys, I think that's all we've got for you today. Plan for your summer. It is getting hot. I know we all want to be, barbecuing and stuff. Take some of that time. Absolutely do that, but make sure that it fits into your business plan as well.
For sure.
Kelly, if anybody wants to, call and ask you about any questions, wants to see something that we can talk about on the show, or wants to fly in and shadow you for a day,
Hey,
where can they reach you?
yeah, guys, go ahead and go to Instagram. Give me a follow there, at Kelly Cook Homes. I'd really appreciate that. Or you can just shoot me a text, call 480-227-2028.
And as always, if you are looking to build your real estate team this year, maybe that's what you're going to spend your summer doing, is really digging into that, building your real estate team. Make sure you go to buildyourrealestateteam.com and download kind of the plan there that Kelly laid out. Well, Kelly, we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Elizabeth.